I'm sitting outside my house.
I have no idea if Jenna even knows how to do this. So.
All right, everybody just chill for a second. This is not complicated. The interface is very, very similar to Ring Central. The only problem is if you don't have the Zoom app, then you can be a little impaired as Monica is. Mr. Maginot is going to open the meeting like, you know, Monica, do all the normal stuff. Monica, call the meeting to order, have John do the roll, you know, all the normal stuff. We'll be good. And John will drive with the, by putting the agenda up and all the normal stuff.
Okay.
We'll get through it.
Perfect. The good news is I actually printed out the whole packet. So, and I'm sitting in my front yard because I get no cell reception in my house. So I'm going to assume it's 5 o'clock and I'm going to call the meeting the May 26, 2022 Public Arts Commission meeting to order. Since I am not able to see a visual, I'm going to ask John first to establish a quorum and then see if there's any comments from the public on items that are not on the agenda. And I don't know if there's anyone from the public on, but first I'll have John establish the quorum.
Sure. So,
John?
Yep. Commissioner Corrigan,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Couture,
Present.
Commissioner Janjigian,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Tasic,
Here.
Vice Chair King,
Yes, here.
and Chair Waldman.
I am here verbally, not visually.
All members are present.
Okay.
And we do have a member of the public who is here and wishes to speak under items not on the agenda.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I can't see the name of the person. Please go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know what you'd like to discuss and go ahead.
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm thankful that I'm here and given the opportunity to speak today. My name is Glenda Chang. I'm a resident of Los Altos for 20 years and counting, and I'm also a board member, one of the board members for Greentown Los Altos, and one of the programs that I lead is the Water Stewardship Program. The reason I'm here is to request funding and support to create a mural of cascading native wildflowers of the Woodland Library garden, which includes this wall. I have it on my background, my virtual background, this wall on top of the garden, and also part of the main building that extends from the garden to the library, and support for that. The reason why I'd like to draw the community's attention to the drought tolerant demonstration garden, which Greentown has led to revitalized, and we shared it to the public last April. We will continue to maintain this garden, and all the plants there are California native. And this is really to drive awareness of the reasons why we need to save water. And the other reason why we need, we want this, we're requesting for this mural is to draw also the community's attention to the library itself. You know, I have the community come and ask them to help with the garden. And it's like, where is this Woodland Library garden? So it's really to drive the attention to the library and also to the neighborhood. We need more art. It benefits the community, and we don't have, I'd like to see more of it in South Los Altos. How this will, you know, be executed, I've done some homework. Perhaps the Los Altos Arts Commission can do it, but I've also talked to Maddie from Arts Los Altos, and they're willing to assist. But I know that this is a land owned by the city, and I believe the building is also owned by the city, but I guess it's loaned to the library folks. So that's why I'm coming here in front of you folks. And how much, some of the initial costs that I got and help from Maddie is, if we go by 50, I believe it's $50 per square foot, it would be about 8 to 12K that just from initial accounting on that one. So that's my stream today.
John, is it okay if I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay. Have you talked to the Library Commission about this idea at all?
So John mentioned that to me. I met with John Maginot last Monday, and I will. And he said to speak with you first
Okay.
and to give a heads up to Jamie.
Okay, so I believe, and John will correct me if I'm wrong, that we would, if we want to discuss this as a commission, it would have to be an agenda item for a future meeting. Is that correct, John?
Correct.
Okay. So are there any other questions from any other commissioners?
Oh, go ahead, Hillary.
Is there space at the garden for a piece of sculpture for future reference?
So good question. There's actually, there could be, I mean, depending on the size. There will also be a project in the summer led by Boy Scouts to do their Eagle project. They're going to put a path that will connect, kind of the path that's from the library, and it will go around the garden, and then eventually also a bench so that people can sit and enjoy and look, you know, look at the garden. And also there will be some, I'm putting up some educational QR codes to talk about, you know, what kind of plants they are and how to maintain it. So there's room maybe on top of it, and also like behind the tree there, as you all probably know, the copper one that's turned green. So, you know, we have to play with it. Currently, there's a PG&E truck because of the heating problems with the library, but that will be resolved
Good to know.
sometime.
Okay.
I have a
And then,
question. Sorry.
were there any other questions?
I think Jenna has one. Commissioner
Yeah,
Moore.
I was just curious
Okay.
to have like an initial rendering. I just want to understand exactly what the project would look like.
What we're paying for?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I-
you already see in the background, there's like this wall behind. There's this wall, right? Like on top of the mound. And then the top part, from feedback from Maddie, the top part, and then there's like a door panel, right? The top part would be good to paint, and maybe around that corner and then that connects to the wall, the half wall. And the reason for that is because there's shrubs on, or trees and shrubs that's on Grant and Foothill. So having art on the top, like would have some pop it out, you know, colors that would kind of draw people from Foothill, because you can't, with this color yellow green and all the green there, you can't really notice it, right? You want something that pops. So having it on top also, there'll be, you know, it will be more noticeable from Foothill Expressway. I don't have a rendering, I mean, but
Sorry, I do want to jump in and make sure that we're not getting to discussion on the item since it's
Okay.
not on the agenda.
Okay,
sorry.
What I
okay.
would suggest is, if the commission would like, is to request it as a future agenda item, and we can put it on an agenda in the coming months.
And that would be
Let's
something they
go
would
ahead and do that.
at the end of the meeting when we talk about future agenda items. It would not be in order to say it right now.
Okay. So John, you will kindly remind us at the end of the meeting about this if we forget to say we'd like it on the agenda for a future meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So as per John, let's go ahead. Thank you for our visitor, and stay tuned. And let's go ahead and go into the actual agenda. First item, sorry, was that somebody speaking? No, okay. First item up is approval of the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which was on April 28th, 2022, about a little less than a month ago. I hope everybody has had a chance to read the meeting minutes. And were there any additions or subtractions from the meeting minutes from the last meeting? Okay, I hear resounding silence, so I'm going to say that that's no. Does anyone want to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from the last meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from April 28th, 2022.
I second.
Okay, okay. John?
Commissioner Corrigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Couture,
Yes, sorry, I had trouble with my mute button.
Commissioner Janjigian,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Tasic,
Yes.
Vice Chair King,
Yes.
and Chair Waldman.
Yeah.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Next item up on the agenda is our community center art. I'm going to ask if there's any comments from the public before we start delving into this subject. Nope. Okay. John, since we have a subcommittee with Hillary dealing with the community center art, and I think it's pretty much time to retire the subcommittee and have a new subcommittee when it's appropriate. Do we need to make a motion for that, or how do we do that, or is that a discussion item?
No, there's no need for a motion, as all of our subcommittees are ad hoc committees. Once they have finished the work that they were assigned to do, the subcommittee goes away, and then the commission can discuss creating a new subcommittee for a specific task or project moving forward. So, and I think since the last subcommittees was tasked with the current Where I'm From exhibit, and that exhibit is up and on display, I would say that subcommittee's work is finished. Okay. As a member of the probably longest standing Public Arts Commission subcommittee, I'm maybe a small tier, but not too sad. We would probably need to reconvene a new subcommittee probably August or July to pick a topic for the next call for art and moving on there. I've got two things on the community center art though. I don't know if John or anyone else does. I'll go ahead and just mention them. And I've told John this already, that we need to get some new label holders for pieces that are hung in the community center. And I think John, you and I can probably work on that offline. So we can do that. And we also had an email request from one of the artists in the current show who asked if we could put up an informational piece that said how to contact the artist in case somebody wanted to buy her work. And I think that's probably more a discussion item for the entire commission to see if we want to do that for the current show, future shows. I feel like we've already hung everything up. I think for at least the current show, it's probably a no, but I don't know if anybody else has an opinion. I don't want to, it's not my place to dictate a yes or no, but I wanted to open it up for a discussion.
Go ahead, Terry.
If anybody has.
I actually think that's a nice idea, but since we've already got this one up, I don't think that it behooves us to do it. But in the future, it would be nice to have some kind of a plaque or just a little notice behind some plexiglass that says this show is being produced by the Art Commission, the artists of so-and-so. If you want to get a hold of them, here's their email or phone or website or something. Would be kind of nice.
I
guess what we can do is the entry form could have like, check here if you want contact information included with your piece for future shows.
Or I think you could also just have a standard plaque on the sign where we have the Los Altos signage that we put up for information on purchasing or to contact an artist. Go through the LAC email, and that way you're not putting out, you don't have to change it every show, and you don't have to put out artist personal emails. Just go ahead and put the Los Altos Commissioner email up there.
And that means that it would actually go, it would go to John, which is this person actually had inquired to John. Are you okay with that, John?
Yeah.
It takes staff time though, I mean, it could, I don't know, seems like we could save a lot of trouble with just having the plaque. And I mean, I usually just Google people's name and try to figure it out that way. But if somebody doesn't have that capability, it would be nice to have a phone number or something for the artist. Just, it can't be that hard to make a plaque and, a plexiglass thing where we just pop the thing in like the sign holders I use at real estate. It's not a big deal.
What we have right now is name of the artist. I believe it's the date of the work and then the inspiration for the piece. Maybe what we do is we can ask artists in the future if you want people to be able to contact you. Do you want your email address
That's
displayed
great
as well?
That's awesome.
Okay, so then what I'll do for this particular artist is I'll tell her we're going to look at doing it in the future, but not for the current show because it's already up. If if everyone's in agreement. John, is that the kind of thing where we need to take a vote on it, or just go with it?
No, I don't think we need a vote. I think if there's consensus of the commission for idea for a future exhibits, then I think that's fine. And when we get to the next exhibit, we can talk about it.
We can revisit. Okay.
Yeah, Janet does have her hand raised.
So, Chair Waldman, what about for the current artists? Instead of just saying it's a hard no, what if there were a flyer that could be available? I assume that this is work that's in the community center, and then maybe it's available at the front desk.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that, but that would also, in fairness, require us to reach out to all the artists and create a flyer if any of the artists want their names included as well, which is doable, but it's just a little more work, and it would be city staff time reaching out to all the artists.
Well, I think it's now been up for 2 months. And so I think people now with the current show can, ask at the Parks and Rec, and they can get that information to us or via John. But yeah, in the future, just ask if people are okay having there. I don't think we need to do too much for this current show. I mean, it's already been up for 2 months. So, I mean, they figured out a way to get to John to get to the commission. So it's not that they're not being stopped. So it's just a thing of making it easier the next time. And if people are willing to have their emails included, then do that. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'll respond to the artist with the information, and then we'll look at it again in a couple months when we're doing another call for art. Make it easy on us, and since the show's already up, let's just go with what we have. Okay. Hillary, did you have anything else on the community center art?
Nope, it's all good.
Okay. All right. Public Art Fund Ordinance. I'm going to ask if there's any comments from the public before we start discussing this item.
Nope. And our member of the public has left, for your information.
All right, she's skedaddled. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Since we have no other members of the public, and I'm flying kind of blind here, I'm not going to call out if there's any comments from the public unless, John, you tell me that somebody else has shown up for the meeting, if that is okay.
It does look like we do have another member of the public who just dialed in. So
okay, then I will
continue to ask.
Okay, I will do that then. All right, so I'm going to flip over my information here. I'm going to start off by, I think, Hillary, were you on the commission when we got our % for art funding?
Yes.
Okay. So Hillary and I are the only two people who were here back in, I think it was 2018, when we got our ordinance, our long fought for ordinance passed by the city council, and we are very appreciative of that. And our ordinance, I hope everyone had a chance to peruse it. It's been around for 4 years, and we finally saw funding. I think it was last May was our first funding that we saw, but it, like all ordinances, sometimes it's time to revisit it a few years later. And one of the things in the ordinance is that developers can say that they don't want to pay into the fund. They want to put the art on site. And we do not have a very robust definition of putting the art on site. And that became very apparent when Janet and I were talking to John's counterparts at sister cities to Los Altos or nearby cities, and they all advised us that we should look at our ordinance and put a little bit more information so the developers have some more guidelines for the if they decide to put the art on site. And the feedback we got was it's not an if, it's a when. And I don't know if that's true or not, but I think it may be worth looking at our ordinance. And Janet, you want to jump in because you've looked at it as well?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it seemed that there were a couple of gaps in our current ordinance, which is actually a really well-drafted ordinance. But that would be, I think it would be worthwhile revisiting, the issues that we uncovered when we talked to other cities who do cover, that and some other questions that arise when it comes to public art. For example, the issue that the public speaker who spoke a few minutes ago, putting a mural on city-owned property. I mean, there might be a way to, give some guidance and a process for that. So yeah, I mean, I was on the call with Chair Waldman, and they did say, you really need to have this.
So I would like to form a subcommittee to look at this. I know that there's always a chance when you perhaps change an ordinance that City Council might say, it's time to get rid of the ordinance completely. But I think if we approach it that we are just making an amendment to strengthen the ordinance, I hope that it would stand up in City Council. I would personally like to be on that subcommittee. John, do I just ask for volunteers for the subcommittee?
Yeah, you can do that. And then I would suggest, if that's the direction the commission wants to go, a motion to form the subcommittee with
subcommittee
with the members. Yep.
Okay. So let's do that. I'm curious if there's anyone else who would be interested in looking at this and at the ordinance and perhaps doing some updating.
I'll volunteer.
And I apologize, I can't see hands, so I don't know whose voice that was.
Commissioner Tacit.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, I can't see anything.
The other thing I would add is it may not necessarily be an amendment to the current ordinance. It could be a separate ordinance. I guess there just has to be, someone needs to look at that. So, and I'd be interested in the subcommittee too as well.
Okay. So John, we have 3 volunteers. Do you want to, I guess I should ask for a motion to form the subcommittee?
Yep, and I would suggest identifying what exactly the subcommittee will be doing in whoever makes the motion.
Okay, I can attempt to make the motion, and I'm sure if I make any mistakes, John will correct me. I would like to make a motion to form a subcommittee to look at, I don't have the actual, I'm looking for my paperwork, pardon me.
Ordinance number, do you want the ordinance number?
Yeah, I got it. Okay, ordinance number, to look at ordinance number 2018-446 and specifically address the possible rewording or examination of developers who want to put art on site in lieu of paying into the fund.
Can I make a friendly amendment?
Yes.
In addition to that, could the subcommittee also look at perhaps identifying a process for instances where a proposal is made for art that would go on city-owned or managed or controlled or maintained property?
I think those would those be 2 separate things?
Yeah, they could.
Or maybe 2 separate ordinances.
Yeah, absolutely, it could be. So maybe, I don't know if you want to have one subcommittee do both or.
So let me clarify
Why
one
not?
thing for you, and Mr. Maginot can
Yes.
weigh in also. An ordinance is the process by which you amend the municipal code usually. And the ordinance you just quoted, I think established a new part of the municipal code, and I don't have your ordinance in front of me, but I think that's what it did. So what you're actually doing is you're actually probably wanting to review for possible suggested amendments, municipal code number, blah, 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 blah. And if you want to do something else, you might want to say, and to consider an addition to the code for blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And that is very technical legalese speak of blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It has a very defined definition.
Okay. I'm going to look towards one of our 2 lawyers on the commission to maybe make the motion and do a better job than I just did.
I'm not sure I can do a better job, but I'll give it a shot. So,
okay.
Anyway, so I'll try to just incorporate what Mary Neander did, which was very helpful. Thank you. So I move to establish a subcommittee that will review ordinance number 2018-446 for any potential amendments, as well as to consider whether there may be a need to consider another ordinance that would deal with a process from any of the municipal code to address situations where art is going to be placed on city-owned, managed, or controlled property.
And I know I can't offer amendments. Can I suggest one thing? You said at the end, the potential ordinance. Could I suggest ordinance or other policy resolution as appropriate?
Perfect.
Would that be good? Thank you.
That's perfect.
That's what she meant to say.
Thank you.
I will second that.
Okay, I will do the roll call. Commissioner Tasic,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Janjagin,
Yes.
Commissioner Couture,
Yes.
Commissioner Corrigan,
Yes.
Vice Chair King,
Yes.
and Chair Waldman.
Yeah.
Motion passes unanimously.
And then as chair, the chair gets to appoint the members of the subcommittee. So for the record,
Okay.
You would want to name who the committee members are going to be.
Okay, I would like to assign myself, Dana, and Janet on the subcommittee. All right, let's go on to our call for art. Before we discuss this, I'm curious if there's any comments from the public. Okay, so I think there's two things to discuss, and I might be wrong, but I hope I am right. An update on placement from our call for art, and then also forming a subcommittee to start developing our next call for art. John, do you have any updates on the sculptures from the
Yep.
last call for art? And go ahead.
Yep. So the artist who is going to install the front part of Grant Park, just finalizing some paperwork so we can get the date scheduled for that installation. As soon as I know what date that is, I will let you all know and hopefully give you a couple of weeks notice before that happens. The artist who I think I've said I continue to struggle to get a hold of. I continue to struggle to get a hold of. That is the one who is
the artist for One Eye Jack.
Yes, and that was going to go
rabbit
at Los Altos Avenue and West Edith Avenue. I don't know if he's blocked my communications or I don't know. So I don't have any update on that one.
Okay. And are there any others that are in the queue that we're just waiting on?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Unless, because at the last meeting, the commission moved us on from the artist on the East Coast who had a couple.
Yeah.
And then the other 4 have been installed. I think that's it.
Okay. And refresh my memory, what did we do with Magnify? The one there were 3 components to it.
I apologize. I will be reaching out to the subcommittee to help me pinpoint the exact location so we can pour the concrete pads and get that one moving.
Oh, good. Perfect. Okay.
I apologize about that.
Okay. I was just like trying to remember how many more we had pending. So with that in mind, I was thinking, we still have a few spots that are available, and we'd like to also bring some art to South Los Altos, and it may be time to start thinking about another call for art because it takes us several months to get the entry form ready and then give artists time to fill it out. So it's a multi-month process. So that's why on the agenda, I asked John to put that we should form a subcommittee to begin developing the next call for art. And we have a lot of new members, and I think it could be a fun thing for some of the newer members to partake in if they would be interested. So I guess I start by saying that I'd like to make a motion for another call for art, or should we have a discussion if we think we need a call for art? If anyone has any comments. All right. So I will make a motion for us being the Public Arts Commission to form a subcommittee to begin developing our next call for art.
I will second that motion.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioner Corrigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Couture,
Yes.
Commissioner Janjigian,
Yes.
Commissioner Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Tasic,
Yes.
Vice Chair King,
Yes.
and Chair Waldman.
Yeah.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. And then as our mayor had said at this time, I should ask for volunteers. Are there any commissioners who would like to be part of the subcommittee?
I would.
Okay.
And I apologize. Please tell me who said that.
Jenna.
So
Okay.
Chair Waldman, it looks like Jenna, Lucy, Terry, and Dana all raised their hands.
And if
Okay.
that's too many, I'll back out. I'm okay with backing out.
All right. Sorry?
Me
If
too.
that's-
If you have too many people, I could back out. I mean, it'd be fine, but I also, if it's.
We got
overloaded-
lots of time to do these things, Dana.
Yeah,
so-
and yeah, it's not like it has to be done by next month. What I believe can happen is John can work with the subcommittee, show them previous calls for art. We have pretty much a template that we've used in the past, and just figure out some dates for when the call should go out, what the time frame is for the artist to respond. And usually we give them, I think, 2 to 3 months to respond, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And it's not, I don't think it's going to be a very long, arduous process. So,
And we can have up to three commissioners on a subcommittee.
I'll
okay.
back out.
Sorry?
I'll decline this time I'll do something else. It's all good.
Okay. So then I took some notes and correct me if I'm wrong of the people I heard. It was Jenna, Lucy, and Dana. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So if all three are comfortable with that, then let's go ahead and form that subcommittee.
I think we have a pattern that we can follow, correct? I mean, it's been
Yes.
done
Yeah.
before, so we
Yeah.
have. just
So
to
we
follow.
pretty much have a form. It's more figuring out, looking at what's been done in the past, and John can help fill in the blanks as far as how long between when a call goes out and you give a deadline for the artist to respond. And you also have to think about, you don't want the artist to have a deadline of like December 31st because, people are usually busy at the end of the year. So you want to think about when is a reasonable time. Maybe mid-December or mid-January is a good time to make a deadline, mid-February. But I'll
When-
leave that to the subcommittee.
When does this show end? Do we have the date?
So
When does what?
the sculptures that are being installed right now are on loan to the city for 2 years. Historically, the commission has conducted a call for art every 18 to 24 months.
About 18 months.
Yeah. So the last one was due last September. And so generally by the time, and this is just from my experience of liaising the commission, is that by the time the subcommittee has had a chance to develop the draft proposal, the commission has discussed it, we put it out, we account for, as Monica was indicating, artist schedules and whatnot. It'll probably be about 18 months since the last time we did the call for art, that we'll start getting entries in.
In our last call for art, we used Cafe for the first time, and Cafe is a nationally known database of calls for art and gallery shows and such. And we got a lot more responses than we ever have, which was great. It does cost us a little bit of money. I think it ran us around $850 to do the call for art, but we got a lot of responses, and I would recommend we do that again. Previously, we weren't able to do that because we had very little budget. So now that we have a budget, it seems like a good idea to have a larger reach and look for artists, either all over the country or using a forum that is used by a lot of artists and getting their attention.
I agree.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can send you the link to the meeting where we reviewed everything, and Terry, and we just got so many good responses. It was a lot of fun to go through that call. All right.
I have a quick question. Do we know?
Yeah.
Sorry. Do we know? Sorry.
No problem.
Sorry. Do we know approximately how many pieces that we're looking for? Or, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk specifics, right? But
that's
Is it based on-
usually, yeah. And that's usually what happens is, as the subcommittee is starting to think about it, we start to identify some locations that we want to install. Usually the commission goes into the selection of pieces with at least a few spots in mind. But as the commission saw through this last process, we can have a subcommittee go out that identifies spots that weren't even on the radar of the commission when we began. But
we have had at least 2 spots. Sorry, we've had at least 2 spots that were designated, or at least 1 spot that was designated for a piece that is the heart that isn't coming, and it might be the case that the large rabbit isn't going to be here either. So, and we've had 2 pieces picked up also, John? I think it was 2 or 3. Can't remember.
Yep.
So we do have some spots to fill, as well as John said, the subcommittee who looked at placement did an awesome job in finding spots we hadn't even thought of before. So, yeah, I think it's identifying spots, and also sometimes, with a call, you just see things, you're like, you know what, we'll find a place to, it's kind of like when you go buy plants, you're like, I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I want it. So hopefully we'll get some good stuff.
And
all right, let's go on to, sorry, go on, Lucy.
No, I just was going to say this is for sculpture art.
Correct, this is for sculpture.
Right.
And that's actually a good question, because when we do these calls, we sometimes get 2D work. And we might want to think about putting the 2D work either in the community center or perhaps the council chambers or somewhere. But generally, we stress we want sculpture, not 3-dimensional work, not 2D work.
Okay, thank you.
Let's on to item number 5, our community art engagement project. Before we start discussing, are there any questions from the public or comments from the public? No. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to the subcommittee.
Janet or Jenna, do you want to talk on this?
Sure, I can get started. So as you may recall, the subcommittee is working on a community outreach event, which will be at Grant Park on June 25th from 10 to 12. It's going to be a paint rock event, and I'll leave it to Commissioner Moore to explain what that is. I do want to let you know that we, as a subcommittee, presented to the Los Altos Parks and Recreation Commission about what we were doing, and it was a really nice meeting, and we're kind of partnering on this together. And I got the sense that there were going to be several Parks and Rec commissioners who were going to come and help us out. So it was a nice way to kind of connect the dots and maybe start a process where we're working collaboratively together. we are taking advantage of Casey Richardson's assistance with registration. And so we're going to make it a process that's a little bit easier than last time. And then we are getting ready to roll out the comms plan, so which will include a mention in the city manager's weekly update, as well as social media. And so Commissioner Waldman or King, do you want to add anything?
I think that's it. I mean, this will be, we're hoping to get about 25 people over at Grant Park. As Janet said, we'll start doing promotion. We just kind of got all the registration links and stuff squared away. So now we can start promoting that. And I think we'll be able to get takers for this pretty well, since it's free, you know.
And I wanted to say thank you to the subcommittee. I called into the Parks and Rec meeting, and the subcommittee did a wonderful job presenting to the Parks and Rec Commission. So I wanted to thank everybody for doing that and thinking about reaching out to Parks and Rec and doing it.
I also attended
I-
that meeting.
Go ahead.
It was good.
Definitely come out to support. You know, we'd love to see you there. It's great to put on your badge if you got one and go out to these events and just talk to people. I think we're going to plan to have, you know, like surveys, and people can talk about, you know, what they want out of the commission and events, and also the Art at Grant Park. So if you're not on the subcommittee, please feel free to come out on June 25th at 10 a.m. or even earlier to help set up.
By the way, I just want to set the record straight in terms of it wasn't our idea to reach out to the Parks and Recreation Commission. It was Mr. Maginot who actually made that happen.
Oh.
So yes, he did that. So he was thinking ahead.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John, and thank you to the subcommittee for acting upon it. And I hope we have a couple more, you know, meetings like that we can collaborate with other commissions as well. I did want to bring up, I reached out to the artist who did the rock dog, and forgive me, I've forgotten his name. I had invited him to come on the 25th, on June 25th. Unfortunately, he will be in the south of France. But
Poor
he
guy.
did say, I know, poor guy. But he asked about how the sculpture is being received by the community, and I told him everyone loves it, and did say he was willing to come out at some point and take a photo with the dog and maybe some of the rocks that are left in the park, if we'd like to have him come out and do a little, you know, PR, and maybe have the town crier take a photo. So just wanted to pass that along.
So what time is this June 25th?
10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
10 to 12?
Yeah, if you want to come early to help set up, you can come at 9.
9? Okay.
Okay, 9 o'clock.
Grant Park?
And
At Park.
John, can you send an email to the rest of the entire commission and let us know exactly where it's going to be, so that for those of us not on the subcommittee, we can make sure we're there, or we know where it is if we want to join.
That would be helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll
Yeah.
be between the two buildings at Grant Park. You can't miss us.
Between? what?
Okay.
Between the two buildings, there's a
Oh.
courtyard area. Yeah.
Okay.
It's right near the entrance of Grant Park, near the parking lot.
Okay. We don't want to have commissioners just wandering aimlessly. All right. Let's go on to our community art engagement project, our hometown haiku. And before I hand this off to Hillary, I'm going to ask if there's any comments from the public. Nope. Okay. Hillary, I'm going to hand it over to you.
So we wrapped up the hometown haiku by having them on display during the bubbly stroll. Got them all printed out and framed. So the Public Arts Commission now owns 10 more frames, which I will have stored in the which we will now have stored in the community center once I'm out of COVID lockdown. But yeah, it went really well. I got them all out. People seemed to appreciate it. We did have a few people ask if they could, or at least one person asked if they could be displayed longer. So that's a note for another time. But I got all them back, and it seemed to have gone well. So it went really well. And I think people seemed pleased with the contest and their prizes. So love to do it again. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
And I'm thinking that maybe displaying it if and when the council chambers ever open up, maybe that would
That's
be
a
a good
great
spot to display them.
It's a great idea.
Okay, so
Well, if we do it
maybe,
again next year, which I would like to in some capacity, I mean, you could have it and work with, if we wanted to work with Lava again, you could have them in the store windows for, a couple weeks.
yeah,
try
yeah,
to
I think that's a
get
good
them
idea.
downtown to see it, so, yeah.
Perhaps, let me ask, John, do we have a date for the city council chambers to eventually open? I know we don't know when we're going to have meetings in person, but.
It'll be sometime next month.
Okay. All right. So maybe when it when we go back to in-person meetings, we'll maybe for a future agenda item we discuss a little bit in a couple minutes. Maybe placing some of them in the council chambers.
And note that this was done we partnered with Lava. So this was something, again, kind of reaching across to other organizations, which was part of the Arts Council Task Force, but this was working and they were very open to it, very easy to work with. And so I really appreciated that with them, and they were just great to work with. Most of the shop owners were great to work with as well. So that I think it shows that there's if this can really help bring people to downtown and have them doing things downtown or elsewhere in the city, then the cooperation is wanted, much like the rock painting. If there's stuff that we do together and that gets the community out and meeting the community, it's much appreciated.
Okay. Since we have Hillary still here, let's go on to our Los Altos Poet Laureate program. And before we discuss it, are there any comments from the public? Nope. Okay, Hillary, you're still up.
Yes, well, this would be obviously near and dear to my heart as I get ready to go to graduate school to pursue this, but we are without a poet laureate. Not every town has one, but a lot sure do. Los Gatos, East Palo Alto, Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, Belmont, all have poet laureates who do a variety of programs. Some of the things they do would be like the hometown haiku contest, which we saw, I think, went pretty well. They do readings, often a monthly reading where they have local writers come and read their works at an open mic, or they bring in other writers. They also offer classes, workshops. Sometimes they read at city councils. So Poet Laureate program can be as big or as little as you want it to be. I would love to help establish that here in whatever way that I can. I've been offered help of the San Mateo County Poet Laureate, Aline Castaneda, who's doing an incredible job in San Mateo County. She's probably one of the best in the nation doing the Poet Laureate program, bringing a lot of diverse voices in the county and having them also doing the youth, getting the youth involved. I'd like to get our seniors involved. I think that's kind of an untapped market. They have a lot of experience they want to write about and talk about. So I'd like to work with that. So I'd like to propose that we start a Poet Laureate program. I'd be willing to take it on and then establish it and then roll off and let it go. But that's where I am on that. And I'll take your questions.
I have some questions.
Yes.
So are they a salaried position, or how does that
It's
work?
usually not a salary position. There's usually some funding for programs. I think we had
Okay.
in the budget, I think 2,000 for a 2-year stint. So you'd have about $1,000 per year, but no one kind of goes into poetry to make money. So we know that. However, it is a program that could bring grants to your city. And that's something, again, the San Mateo County Poet Laureate has really offered to help me with, or to help the Los Altos with, that this is a way to bring grant money for programs to the city. If you have a Poet Laureate program, you can get some youth grants, some grants for reading. So that, again, is a way to have programs in the city that can be funded with money from elsewhere.
Well, and it is art, so I think it's right down our bailiwick as far as I'm concerned. And that
Yes.
seems like a fairly reasonable price to get a whole new sector of Los Altos citizens involved that maybe don't do other things, but they write poetry or they read poetry, and
Or they
like
write
to come and-
memoirs.
Yeah, right, exactly.
This is a program that doesn't have to be confined.
Sounds great.
So it could be memoirs, fiction, nonfiction, and so on. This can work across a lot of different genres, but we don't have as much in the way of literary arts here. So it would be nice to see that come forward more in Los Altos.
Well, we
And
might, but
could
we don't know
partner
who they
with the
are.
Library Commission.
Right. Yes, exactly.
We do have a number of authors. I don't know about poets. I know we have a number of authors in our city, but it would be good. We could partner with other commissions. And as I think that was Terry who said, it would bring a whole new genre of art to the city. I think it would be wonderful.
Yeah, and First Friday, Carol is very open to having readings with that, having an open mic at the start of that event, which I think would be another draw as well. So that's something to be added in there as well. And there's certainly a lot of other communities that do have this, and so it's something that we don't. It would be nice to add this to the kind of roster for Los Altos.
So if we were to start going down this road, and Hillary, I know you're not going to be with us much longer. If you write up a proposal, can we still use you as a resource
Sure,
for questions?
Yes.
Okay. Because
I'll put it out there that I would volunteer to, to take it on and get it established, and maybe do it for the first year or two to get it rolling, and then, then open the gates and see who wants to do it.
Okay. Because I don't know if I can't speak for all my fellow commissioners, but I don't know much about this, the genre, to call it, I don't know much about it and what other cities and counties offer. So, we would look to you to be, the expert on it.
I'm well versed, and I have a lot of connections in it, so I'm happy to help and happy to get going.
Okay.
That's great.
Would you be willing to write up a proposal before the next meeting? We can present at the next meeting. It could be
I've
an agenda
got one.
item.
I can go ahead and I've got one and just put it, if we want to make an agenda item for the next meeting. Absolutely.
Okay. So I think we can start with that. And sorry, somebody was saying something.
I can try to figure out details for how you want to start it, if you need to take it to the council, or how you want to do that, or how that should happen. So,
John, do we need to take something like this to council? It's under $5,000.
I'll give it some thought at the next meeting.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Can you say that again, John? I'm sorry.
Okay.
I said I'll give it some thought and have an answer for the next meeting.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Think about it.
It's a very poetic answer, John.
Well,
could you say that in the form of a haiku, please?
I was gonna
Separate doesn't rhyme.
Yeah, it doesn't rhyme. Well, I was going to say it's my aspiring lawyer in me of I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Hillary, for volunteering to help shepherd us through this, because it's an area I don't know much about. All right. Agenda item, Los Altos Art Task Force Group. Before we discuss it, are there any comments from the public? Nope. All right. I don't have any updates. Does anyone else from our subcommittee have any updates? Jenna or Hillary?
We did, working with Lava worked well for the haiku. We did kind of have discussion about doing a dance, international, something for International Dance Day, but that didn't pan out. I think the three of us can probably meet again and see where we want to be on it with it. It is, I think again, it's something that is a good thing to have. I think how we want to manage it is something we need to kind of think about, or the commission should think about. But the three of us probably meet again.
So I agree. We should have a meeting before the end of next month. Jenna, do you have anything?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Informational items. John.
So Mayor Enander already stole one of my informational items with the sad news of Vice Chair King pending resignation. The other item
she's leaving us for a piece of paper. Yes, we know.
Yes. The other item I wanted to just provide a brief report on. It was mentioned earlier, when the commission returns to in-person meetings. The city council meeting on Tuesday, the council had a discussion regarding when in-person meetings might resume. The direction by the council was for staff to plan for hybrid meetings beginning in August with the city council. The city council has determine that they will be the guinea pigs to work out all of the kinks and bugs in terms of hybrid meetings before we then start to roll it out to the commissions. Without getting too deep into it, we're exploring options that members of the council, well, for council meetings, members of the council, or for commission meetings, commissioners, members of the public and staff could participate either in person or virtually, given their preference. So stay tuned on that. We'll of course monitor how things are going in terms of case numbers and whatnot, and then see how hybrid meetings start going with the city council.
And I'll just add to what John said, that of course, this is all within guidelines issued by the state and the county health official, so that if something goes really sideways and the county health official says, you know, no in person, no congregate gatherings, no this, no that, you know, mask, we have a disaster, obviously that might change the time frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we've all learned over the past 2 years of COVID, we'll stay flexible and we'll adapt.
Yes, yes. All right. Under commissioners' reports and comments, John, can I ask about the budget, when it will be presented to city council?
So that is going to go to the city
Our
council.
budget, I should say.
Yeah, so that is being presented as part of the overall budget package, which I believe will be at the June 14th city council meeting. Will be the first that the council hears and considers it.
Okay.
And the council will take action on the budget prior to June 30th, so that it is in place starting July 1.
Okay, and is it recommended that public arts commissioners call into that meeting? Can there possibly be questions?
If the commission wants to designate one person to sort of speak on behalf of the commission, that would be fine. Of course, I'll be there as well to answer questions that may come up.
Okay. Does anybody want to volunteer to call into the meeting?
Terry has her hand. Monica.
Oh, Terry. Okay, I know.
You didn't
okay,
hear
thank you.
Terry
Thank you. I
raise her
can't see
hand.
anything. I did not hear Terry's hand go up. I'm sorry. I know Terry attends all the
It's
meetings.
okay, I
So,
attend the meetings anyway, so.
yeah, I will try to call in, but if I'm not able to, Terry will be there. So that it's good to know we'll have some representation one way or another, other than John, who will, of course, be our best representative.
Madam Chair, I just want to call to your attention, which you can't see, that we do have a member of the public who joined. I'm not sure when this person popped in or if Mr. Maginot caught it or not. So I have no idea if this is someone who wants to comment on anything or what, but you might want to.
Am I allowed to ask for public comments? Because John said that somebody was on, and that's why I asked for public comment with each agenda item. But I'm not. Are we allowed, John, to ask if there's any comments from the public in general at this time?
I will leave that to the discretion of the chair.
Okay. And I say this to the member of the public. I'm sorry, I'm calling in, so I can't see if you raise your hand or not. But if you want to speak, if you're on mute, and you may take yourself off mute if you had a comment. Nope, I don't hear anything.
Yeah, she's taken herself off mute. Yeah, she's taken herself off mute. And
okay.
then she put herself back on. So I'm not sure what's she or he.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't know the gender of the person, and they keep going on and off. So so they've gone on and off again.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to assume that they're here to observe and not make comment then. Are there any other comments from any of the other commissioners?
Monica, it's Terry. She's one of the photographers. Yeah. I recognize her name. She's one of the photographers for the town crier, and she was the one that took the photographs the day that
of the tower.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Of our tower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monica, I had just a commissioner report from conservation.
Okay,
Just that I have emailed the guy to do the survey and I haven't heard back, so I will touch base with again and see if we can get the survey going.
okay,
Monica, the member of
all
the
right.
public did send a chat saying she has no comments. Sorry. And it was-
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I apologize that I can't see anything on the screen. So thank you for other people being my eyes. Potential future agenda items. John, we had the comment about our one item that we wanted on the agenda in the future.
I think you're referring to the speaker who spoke on items not on the agenda.
Yeah, from Greentown. So can we put on the agenda to discuss a possible collaboration with Greentown for a mural at the Woodland Library?
I would suggest you see if there is support from the commission to put that as a future agenda item.
Okay, let me throw it out to the rest of the commission. Is there support for even pursuing this?
I don't mind listening to see what they have to say.
I agree. I
Okay.
just would like more information. Does
It's
seem.
not I don't know how much it's gonna cost. I don't know, any of the details. So, it doesn't hurt to listen to the proposal.
Okay,
Yeah. And I
Uh,
should clarify that the future agenda item would be to discuss the proposal, not to necessarily approve or
Right.
disapprove of the proposal in advance. So it would be to discuss it.
and if we're in agreement, I guess we would ask, and I apologize, I didn't get the speaker's name, but we would ask her perhaps to come again and
Yeah, I'll let her know.
so we have a little bit more information at that time. Okay.
Yep.
Does anyone else have any other potential future agenda items? Nope, I don't see any hands raised, but I probably wouldn't see them raised, and I don't hear anybody. So, and unfortunately, on a cell phone, I can't see what time it is, but I think we can call this meeting adjourned. I think we're at the end of our agenda. And John, what time is it?
6:08.
Call the time if you can tell me what. Sorry, 6:08. Oh,
6:08.
fastest meeting ever.
I know.
6:08. Go out and enjoy this lovely day that is not 100 degrees, and hopefully have a good one.
Monica, sorry, I should
Yeah.
have mentioned this earlier. Should we mention our intentions for June 6th?
I'm sorry, your intentions for June 6th?
Yeah, for what we had talked about with Redberry, or is that just you and I?
Well, that was supposed to be a surprise, but
Oh, well, it still can be.
Call you.
Never mind.
well, if Hillary's here, it's not a surprise anymore.
Oh,
All right, Hillary and I were supposed to meet for coffee, but we're gonna now since the cat's out of the bag. Hillary, I think we're gonna meet at 10 o'clock on June 6th. So we're not allowed to discuss anything about the Public Art Commission, but we're just a friendly gathering to start sending Hillary off into the world of her NSA program.
I'm so sorry.
If you're still up for looking at us, oh, it's okay. It's okay. If you're up to seeing us.
Sure. I will say everyone in my house has COVID right now, except me. I keep testing negative. I'm like 8 days of negative tests in, but I will try to be there. So.
Okay. If things change, just let me know. But again, because of the Brown Act and everything, we can't discuss Public Arts Commission stuff, but we can discuss, the beautiful Los Altos weather and how good the coffee is. So.
And parking at San
We'll
Jose
discuss.
State, because that'll be fun.
So what's happening?
Oh yeah, I have a girlfriend who teaches there. I can tell you all about it.
What's happening June 6th? We're bidding farewell to Hillary, or
Yeah,
not?
Yeah. She will still be at our next meeting, but we'll just have an informal coffee where we just get to meet in person. But again, we can't discuss Public Art Commission.
But where will it
stuff.
be? Or you will let us know?
It's going to be at Redberry Coffee. And John, you're invited too. We could buy you a cup of coffee.
Buy him a drink.
Redberry coffee?
I don't know about drinking at 10 in the morning.
Where is
It's going to be at Redberry Coffee in downtown.
Okay, and what, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
Thank you.
And then if Hillary is not able to make it, I think it's okay for you to send email because it's not a sanctioned commission thing. So I think that's okay for Hillary to send email to everyone. And hopefully you will be able to make it.
Thank you.
Again, I'm sorry for ruining the surprise. I
That's
thought we were
okay.
announcing it after the news, so,
Okay.
It's okay.
okay.
No problem.
I'd rather not be
Now,
surprised.
we're giving you something to look forward to, Hillary.
Yes,
Yeah.
out of my captivity.
Now
Yeah.
you have to show up.
Or we'll just all meet without you and, we'll talk about you.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We'll
All
Zoom
right.
call you.
We'll do a Zoom call and you can see us all drinking coffee.
I'm so dying to go to a coffee shop now.
You can't even leave the house, right? You have to wear a mask all the time.
No, yeah.
Sucks.
We can walk, we can go for walks. It's
Yeah,
just,
that's
I mean,
about
it's just about like lockdown again. We're just like, oh, what can I bake? It's awful.
Have you gone
Well,
through the books in the background yet?